The butterfly dream. Once Xuanzhu dreamed he was a butterfly flitting and fluttering about, happy with himself and doing as he pleased. He didn't know that he was Xuanzhi. Suddenly he woke up, and there he was, solid and unmistakable Xuanzhi. But he didn't know if he was Xuanzhi who had dreamt he was a butterfly, or a butterfly dreaming that he was Xuanzhi. Between Xuanzhi and the butterfly, there must be some distinction. This is called the transformation of things. Xuanzhi, chapter 2. For many years, actually from the time of the Greeks, and I'd say even before, with the idea of the skeptical hypothesis that we are basically in the mind of other people or in our own mind, with the idea, for example, of solipsism of Berkeley, the British philosopher Berkeley, the idea that we only one consciousness exists and projects everything else. So it could be you, it could be me, but it's just one consciousness. So that's one of the elements, philosophical elements, that make us being like the ground to think the concept of Mandela effect or the concept of simulation. But in some years ago, in 2003, Nick Bostrom is trying to demonstrate that accordingly our development in computing, we basically in the future can project easily that to create a simulation. So in his paper he states that there are three, they call it a trilemma, and this trilemma means that there are three elements that we might take in consideration in order to assess this hypothesis. And these elements, and I'm going to read them, are as follows. 1. The fraction of human-level civilizations that reach a post-human stage, that is, one capable of running high-fidelity ancestor simulation, is very close to 0. That's the hypothesis number 1. Number 2. The fraction of post-human civilizations that are interested in running ancestor simulation is very close to 0. Or, number 3, the fraction of all people with our kind of experiences that are living in a simulation is very close to 1. So Bostrom goes on to use anthropic reasoning to claim that if the third position is the one of those three that is true, and almost all people with our kind of experiences live in simulations, then we're almost certainly living in a simulation. Okay, so that's the starting point. So if we accept this hypothesis, these three propositions, particularly the third one as the most likely one, between commas, the fraction of all people with our kind of experiences that are living in a simulation is very close to 1. That means that if we have this kind of technology, if we have this kind of mind frame, we will probably make a simulation in the future. So we're going to create like this little God that Vicente Huidobro, the Chilean poet, talked at the beginning of the 20th century, that the poet is a small God. Basically, the computer people are becoming more than small gods, are becoming real gods because they are simulating reality. So the problem on that situation is how you introduce consciousness to this simulation, but that's something that I'm not attempting to figure out because it's completely technical. But the fact that we accept that we live in a simulation in any of these kind of worlds that develop this kind of technology, we have to also accept that this simulation has been going on in every single civilization that reached this level of technological consciousness. So that's extremely problematic, as you probably already are figuring it out. Because if that's the case, that means that all these worlds in this infinite universe are simulating the universe. So that means that it's like Chinese boxes, or that means like it's a holographic or fractalic world. Because if every world, possible world, is, let's say, recreating this reality through simulation, that means there are simulations between simulations between simulations, more than a real universe unsimulated. So we start with an unsimulated world coming from nature, and we have, for infinite times, considering, of course, the lifespan of the universe that we think around, that is 15 billion years. The issue here, or the problem that we are facing with this, is when they make a change in, let's say, if we take face value the idea that we can change to another universe, to another parallel universe, because of the quantum physics idea. So once we change from here, from Earth, from this tiny little planet, the universe where we are in, we are changing the universe in the infinite universe. We are not changing the universe here on Earth. So the problem is that if we are reach this state of development and technological consciousness, what's going on is that anywhere in the universe, any change, we move to a different universe, to a parallel universe. You understand? And that's the logical conclusion of this. Okay? If that's the point, if we are in these simulations, between simulations, basically the Mandela effect should have been happening naturally since we were born and before we were born, because other worlds had been changing the way the world is, because they have been simulating stuff. So our simulation is within another simulation, because they are the developing or the developing or the evolution of the world so far cannot be pinpointed to Earth. So simulation, then, it's a catch-22, because we cannot really understand, we cannot really put our finger on it, because it's always changing. It's just a labyrinth, basically. And being in that way, we are facing a different problem. Is this just the entrance of a different